So here we're going to talk about monomials and try to figure out if what we're looking at is a monomial or not, and be able to explain why or why not. How do we know? Alright, so a monomial, just to look at the vocab for a minute, we want to pay attention to the prefix, I believe it's called, mono. Mono means single or one, so basically a monomial is one term. Now, what exactly is a term? That's where it gets a little bit fuzzy till we kind of have it straight. Terms are separated with plus or minus signs. So I'm going to jump to this middle example right here. Do you see how there is a plus sign? We have 4x squared plus 1. So that plus is separating out different terms. Here's one term, here's a second term. So this one is not a monomial. And then, how do you know? Well, there's a couple things you could say. You could say there's a plus sign. You also could say, well, there are two terms. Two terms would be called a binomial. Bi means two. So you want to look for that plus or minus. That's what separates out your terms. So if we look at the first example, 5xy, you notice we don't have any plus or minus signs, but we do have three things. We have a 5, an x, and a y. But because it's all kind of stuck together with that multiplication, that makes that one term. It's only a plus or minus that will separate your different terms. So 5xy is one term, so yes, this one is a monomial. And how did we know? You could say there's no plus or minus signs, or you could say there's only one term. Alright, this last one over here looks a little bit different only because it's not in simplified form. We have a 4 times a 3x. So what we'll want to do here is let's go ahead and multiply this out. 4 times 3x is 12x. And now let's look at the 12x to see if this is a monomial or not. So look for the plus or minus signs. I don't see any, which means that this is going to be just one term. Even though you have your coefficient 12 and your variable x, they are stuck together with multiplication, so that is just one term. So yes, this last one is a monomial. And how do we know again? We know because it has only one term. And again, you could say there are no plus or minus signs. I would be okay with that as well.